I'd like to start off with some of the overarching themes of the report. You talk about a much more promising outlook, but then you also raise concerns about the state of the unevenness of the recovery. Let's just start with the positives here. What is giving you confidence at this point?
So, as you said, this is a very extraordinary rebound, and what's giving us confidence is the speed at which we found a vaccine, at which it's being deployed, and how well preserved most economies have been by monetary and fiscal policy. But everybody is not getting this vaccination at the same pace. The monetary and fiscal support is also quite uneven. So that's creating the unevenness that you were mentioning in your question.
So it seems like on the downside, there are two types of risks. There's the health downside risk and there's the economic downside risk. When it comes to the health risk, you talk a lot about the unequal distribution of vaccines and the fact that there isn't that much vaccine supply available right now for lower income and emerging market countries. What can be done to remedy the situation per the OECD?
So thanks. I think the question of actually producing and deploying vaccine faster and more widely is a key question. It's crucial to the evolution of the health and economic outlook. There's a number of things that can be done. First, it's to increase production by speeding up the licensing of existing production sites, which have been beefed up, transferring the necessary technology. And the second is to remove obstacles, for exporting excess vaccines from the countries which have already had enough doses, and also the trade barriers, not only to the vaccines themselves, but their components and the material necessary to do the jabs, which is the syringes and everything. So increase production, remove trade barriers.
And is it the OECD's view that advanced economies could be doing more to help emerging market economies when it comes to the deployment of vaccines? And just to go one step further, does the OECD have a view on the vaccine patent waivers, a big topic of discussion right now that's going on between the US and EU and, of course, a lot of the advanced economies?
So what we're saying today is, what's the most urgent thing to do? And the most urgent thing to do is actually make sure that vaccines are crossing borders and reaching the people who need it most. So that means we need to increase production and we need to increase the distribution of it. And as I was saying before, there's a number of things we can do that. Waiving patents may be helpful, but not in the short term. That's a medium-term issue. And the urgency today is more production, more trade for more export of vaccines and their components.
Is it fair to say that one of the biggest downside risks, again, sticking to the health perspective, is the emergence of new variants?
So there are a number of risks that we highlight in this outlook. And yes, the first risk is obviously coming from the fact that the virus situation is not under control and will not remain under control as long as not enough people are vaccinated around the world. So there can be new variants, it can come back in some instances. In its own right, we really need to vaccinate more broadly, but also to protect ourselves.